She told the counselor, "He's delusional and paranoid, always recording things." I said nothing. When the judge in our custody battle unmuted the audio file of her coaching our child to lie, paranoid suddenly looked like prepared. I, 35 male, started carrying a voice recorder about 8 months ago. Not because I'm paranoid, because my ex-wife Veronica, 34, has this talent for rewriting history. We've been divorced for 2 years, share custody of our daughter Lily, 8, and until recently, things were manageable. The recording habit started after an incident where Veronica claimed I never showed up for Lily's school play. I had video on my phone of me sitting in the 3rd row. She just shrugged and said, "Must have forgotten." That's when I realized she wasn't just forgetful, she was deliberately creating false narratives. So yeah, I bought a little digital recorder. Nothing fancy, just a basic one that fits in my pocket. Started recording our exchanges during pickups and drop-offs. Not secretly either. It sits right there on my dashboard or kitchen counter. Legal in my state, as long as one party knows about it. Veronica noticed immediately. Started calling me paranoid to anyone who'd listen. Told our co-parenting counselor I was obsessed with documenting everything, and it was creating a hostile environment for Lily. The counselor actually suggested I might want to consider if my need to record was stemming from unresolved trauma. I just nodded and kept my mouth shut. But here's what really started this whole mess. About 4 months ago, Lily came to my house for the weekend and said something that made my blood run cold. "Mommy says you don't really love me, you just pretend because the judge makes you." I stayed calm, told her that wasn't true, and later that night, I typed up every word she'd said. Started keeping a journal. Dates, times, exact quotes. Veronica would text me something, then claim she never sent it. I'd screenshot everything. She'd say she dropped Lily off at 6 when it was actually 7:30. I'd note it all down. The counselor kept insisting I was being hypervigilant, even suggested that my documentation was preventing me from living in the moment with my daughter. Meanwhile, Veronica was getting bolder. She started telling people I was mentally unstable. Told Lily's teacher I had anger management issues, completely fabricated. The teacher actually called me concerned, and I had to explain that no, I'd never been to anger management because I'd never needed it. Then 3 weeks ago, Veronica filed for full custody. Her claim? I'm mentally unstable, paranoid, and creating an unsafe environment for our daughter. Her evidence? The fact that I record our interactions, keep detailed logs of pickup times, and document everything. She also claimed I was emotionally absent and that Lily had expressed fear about coming to my house, said I yell at her constantly and that my girlfriend Rachel is mean to her. All lies, but how do you prove a negative, right? Wrong. Because I had the receipts. Literally. The first hearing was yesterday, and oh boy. Let me tell you what happened. Her lawyer, this smug guy in an expensive suit, spent 20 minutes painting me as this delusional man who records everything because he's paranoid and controlling. Used words like surveillance and intimidation tactics. Even brought up that I'd been recording our sessions with the co-parenting counselor, legal by the way, and the counselor knew. He actually said, and I quote, "My client lives in fear of her ex-husband's obsessive behavior. He documents her every move, records their every interaction. This is not the behavior of a stable individual. This is the behavior of someone who needs serious psychological intervention." The counselor testified, said I showed concerning signs of paranoid behavior and that my fixation on documentation was troubling. She recommended that if I were to retain any custody, I should undergo mandatory psychological evaluation and therapy. My lawyer asked for a recess. During the break, she asked if I had any recordings that might be relevant. I pulled out my phone and showed her a folder labeled Concerning Interactions. Her eyes went wide after listening to just the first one. "We need to play these," she said. "All of them?" "Every single one." We went back in, and my lawyer requested to submit audio evidence. Veronica's lawyer objected, saying recordings made without full consent were inadmissible. Judge reviewed the state law, confirmed one-party consent applies, and allowed it. The first recording was from 6 weeks ago. Clear as day, you can hear Veronica talking to Lily in the background. She didn't know I was already in the driveway. "Remember what we practiced, baby? When the lady asks you about Daddy's house, What do you say? That it's scary? That's right. And what else? That daddy yells? Good girl. And if she asks if you want to live with daddy? I say no, I only want to live with mommy. Perfect. Remember, this is our secret game, okay? We don't tell daddy about our practice. The judge's face was stone. Veronica went pale. Her lawyer started shuffling papers frantically. The second recording was from a month ago. Veronica on the phone, she didn't realize I'd already picked up. I don't care what he actually does. Lily needs to understand that daddy's house isn't safe. Tell her. Tell her that Rachel doesn't want her there. Make it believable. But wait, it gets better. Or worse, depending on how you look at it. Update 1. Holy crap, you guys. The support from my first post has been overwhelming. Sorry for not updating sooner. Been dealing with the fallout. So after that first recording played in court, the judge ordered an immediate investigation by CPS and appointed a guardian ad litem for Lily. Veronica tried to claim the recording was taken out of context, that she was just preparing Lily for tough questions. Her lawyer actually tried to spin it as responsible parenting. The judge wasn't buying it. My lawyer then submitted 17 more recordings. 17. Each one showing a pattern of coaching, manipulation, and straight-up parental alienation. The worst one? Veronica telling Lily that if she had to live with daddy full-time, mommy might go away forever because she'd be too sad. Then asking Lily, "You don't want mommy to go away, do you?" You could hear my baby girl crying on that recording. It broke my heart. Another gem. Veronica explaining to someone on the phone, probably her sister, based on the voice, how she'd been planting seeds for months. How she'd told Lily that daddy's house has bad feelings, and that's why she gets tummy aches there. Plot twist. Lily had been getting stomach aches at Veronica's house from the stress of keeping the secret game. But here's where Veronica really screwed herself. Remember how she's been telling everyone I'm paranoid and delusional? Well, the co-parenting counselor had to testify. This woman, who'd been suggesting I needed therapy for my documentation obsession, had to admit under oath that Veronica had filed 12 false reports with her about missed visitations, late pickups, and concerning behavior, all of which I had disproven with timestamps, receipts, and yes, recordings. The counselor looked like she'd swallowed a lemon when she had to read from her notes where she'd written, "Father appears fixated on documentation. Possible paranoid tendencies. Recommend psychological evaluation." My lawyer asked her one question. In light of the evidence presented, do you still believe my client's documentation habits indicate paranoia? She just said no. Then my lawyer asked, would you say his documentation habits were in fact a reasonable response to false allegations? It appears so. So my client was not paranoid, but rather justifiably concerned? Yes. The guardian ad litem interviewed Lily at a neutral location. Apparently, halfway through, Lily broke down crying and asked if she was in trouble for lying about daddy. The gal gently got the truth out of her. Mommy had been making her practice the secret game for months, making her memorize bad things to say about my house, my girlfriend, even my parents. Lily told the gal that mommy said if she didn't play the game right, daddy would take her away forever. That she practiced in the car before every counseling appointment. That mommy would quiz her. What do we say about Rachel? She's mean and doesn't like me. What about daddy's house? It's scary and dirty. The gal asked Lily how daddy's house really was. Lily said, it's nice. Rachel makes good pancakes, and we have movie nights, but I'm not supposed to say that. Veronica, in her infinite wisdom, decided to double down. She called me 37 times that night. I didn't answer once, but I did save the voicemails. My favorite? The one where she screams that I set her up and that I'm ruining everything with my psycho recording obsession. Another voicemail. You think you're so smart with your little recordings. You've been planning this all along, haven't you? You wanted me to say those things so you could use them against me. This is entrapment. My lawyer says this is entrapment. Spoiler alert, her lawyer did not say it was entrapment. Her lawyer actually withdrew from the case the next day. Update 2, buckle up, because Veronica went full nuclear. After the gal report came back recommending immediate temporary full custody to me, Veronica lost it, but not in the way you'd expect. No, she got calculating. First, She filed a complaint against my lawyer for harassment and intimidation tactics. That went nowhere fast. Then she tried to get the judge removed from the case for bias. Also rejected. But then she did something that even I didn't see coming. She called my employer, told them I was mentally unstable and that I'd been secretly recording coworkers and creating a hostile work environment. She actually sent them an email with the subject line, "Concerned Citizen Report," claiming she'd overheard employees discussing their discomfort with my surveillance tactics. Thank God my boss knows me well enough to call BS, but HR still had to do a formal investigation. I had to provide a statement, submit to interviews, the whole 9 yards. It was humiliating. They interviewed my entire team. Everyone had to give statements about whether they'd ever seen me recording them or felt surveilled. The investigation concluded I'd done nothing wrong, but the damage to my reputation was done. People looked at me differently. Some of my coworkers started whispering when I walked by. One guy actually asked if I was recording our lunch conversation. While that was happening, she started her social media campaign. Not directly attacking me, she's too smart for that now. Instead, she's posting these vague, inspirational quotes about protecting your children from toxic people, and when a mother's love isn't enough for the system. Her friends and family are eating it up, commenting about what a warrior she is. She also started a Mothers Against Parental Alienation group on social media. The irony was completely lost on her. She'd post articles about narcissistic ex-husbands and how they manipulate the system. Got about 200 members before someone pointed out that she was the one accused of alienation. She deleted the group that same day. Then came the therapy records. See, Veronica had been taking Lily to a child therapist for the past 4 months. Without telling me, without putting it through insurance, paying cash so I wouldn't find out. She'd been telling this therapist all sorts of things about me, using Lily's coach statements as evidence of abuse. The therapist, Dr. Brennan, had written extensive notes about my concerning behavior based entirely on what Veronica and Lily had told her. She'd even written a recommendation letter for the custody case, stating that Lily showed signs of trauma related to visiting her father's home. Except, remember those recordings? My lawyer subpoenaed Dr. Brennan and played the audio of Veronica coaching Lily about what to tell the nice lady who asks questions. Dr. Brennan's face went through about 6 different shades of red as she realized she'd been played. She had to admit on record that she'd never spoken to me, never attempted to verify any of the claims, and had based her entire assessment on manipulated information. She actually apologized to me in court. Said she'd been practicing for 15 years and had never seen such a calculated attempt to manipulate therapeutic intervention. But Veronica's biggest mistake? She tried to use Lily as a messenger. Last Tuesday was my regular pickup day. Lily came out to the car with a sealed envelope from Mommy for Daddy. Inside was a handwritten letter, not threatening exactly, but definitely intimidating. Talking about how I should reconsider what's best for everyone, and how this could all go away if you just be reasonable. The letter went on. You know I'm a good mother. You know Lily belongs with me. Your little recording game has gone too far, but we can still fix this. Drop the custody modification and I'll forget about the emotional damage you've caused our daughter with your paranoid behavior. I photographed it, logged it, and gave it to my lawyer. But I also did something else. I installed a doorbell camera at my house. Not to catch Veronica, but because I had a feeling she might escalate. I was right. Update 3. The doorbell camera caught her at 2 a.m. last Thursday. She wasn't trying to break in or anything that dramatic. She was leaving letters under my door. 3 of them, actually. 1 for me, 1 for my girlfriend Rachel, and 1 for my mother. The letters were unhinged. Mine accused me of child abuse, of turning Lily against her, of being a narcissist who gets pleasure from destroying families. It actually said, "You've always been jealous of my bond with Lily. You can't stand that she loves me more. So you're trying to steal her." The one to Rachel was particularly nasty, with details about our marriage that nobody needed to know and warnings about what kind of monster she was dating. "He recorded me during intimate moments," she wrote. "He probably records you too. He gets off on control. Run while you can. The letter to my mother was manipulation central. I'm begging you as one mother to another, please talk sense into your son. He's destroying our family. Lily cries every night. She's losing weight. She's scared. Please, if you love your granddaughter, make him stop. My mom called me the next morning. Furious. Not at me, at Veronica. That woman has some nerve trying to manipulate me into her twisted game. I'm testifying for you if you need me to. I didn't respond to any of it. Just forwarded everything to my lawyer and filed a police report for harassment. But Veronica wasn't done. She showed up at Lily's school and tried to check her out early, claiming a family emergency. The school called me because I'm listed as the primary contact. I told them there was no emergency and that she wasn't authorized for pickup that day. Veronica caused such a scene that the school resource officer had to escort her out. She then tried to attend Lily's parent-teacher conference on my scheduled day. When the teacher reminded her that it was my day, she claimed I'd agreed to switch. I hadn't. The teacher, bless her, asked for that agreement in writing. Veronica stormed out, calling everyone conspirators. The final custody hearing was yesterday. Veronica showed up with a new lawyer, the third one in this whole process. Turns out the other two dropped her as a client. This new guy tried his best, but when you're defending someone with this much documented crazy, there's only so much you can do. He actually tried to argue that my recordings constituted stalking, that I'd created an environment of fear and control. The judge asked him one simple question. Counselor, is your client aware that she's on recording number 18 explicitly stating she was coaching the child to lie? The lawyer had no response. The judge reviewed everything. The recordings, the coached lies, the false reports, the therapist manipulation, the harassment, the letters, the attempted unauthorized school pickup. Everything. Veronica tried to cry, tried to play the desperate mother card, talked about how she just loves her daughter so much and was only trying to protect her. The judge asked her directly, protect her from what exactly? From a hostile environment. What specifically makes the father's home hostile? He records things. Anything else? She couldn't give another answer. Then Lily's guardian ad litem presented their final recommendation. Full legal and physical custody to me. Supervised visitation for Veronica, contingent on her completing a parenting class and undergoing a psychological evaluation. Veronica stood up and started screaming. Called me a manipulative bastard. Said I'd been planning this all along, that my paranoid recording obsession was proof that I'd been setting her up from the start. He wanted this, she screamed. He made me do those things so he could record them. This is all calculated. Check his computer. Check his search history. He probably researched how to do this. The judge had her removed from the courtroom. My lawyer leaned over and whispered, "Still think you're paranoid?" Final update. It's been a month since I got full custody. Figured I owed you all a final update. Veronica did not go quietly. She filed an appeal, which was rejected. She tried to get different judges, different lawyers, different everything. She even tried to get a restraining order against me, claiming I was stalking her because I had all those recordings. Judge basically laughed her out of court on that one. She's had 2 supervised visits with Lily so far. The supervisor reports that she spent the first one crying and trying to get Lily to say she misses living with mommy. Kept asking, "Don't you want to come home?" Until the supervisor had to redirect the conversation. The second one was better. She actually just played with her. Maybe reality is starting to sink in. Though probably not, because last week she sent a letter to the court claiming the supervisor was biased and preventing natural mother-child bonding. She demanded a new supervisor, request denied. The plot twist? Dr. Brennan, the therapist Veronica had manipulated, actually reached out to apologize. She's been working with Lily, with my consent this time, to undo the damage from all the coaching and manipulation. She told me that in 30 years of practice, she's never seen such a calculated attempt to alienate a child from a parent. She's actually writing a paper on it, with all identifying information removed, of course. Lily is doing better. The first week was rough. She kept asking if she was in trouble, if mommy was mad at her, if she had been bad. She'd wake up at night crying, saying she forgot the right words, and mommy would be upset. It broke my heart every single time. We've been working through it. She's in legitimate therapy now, with a therapist who actually speaks to both parents. She's starting to understand that the secret game wasn't okay. That lying about Daddy wasn't her fault. Last week, she told me something that made me tear up. Daddy, I don't have to practice words anymore. I can just tell the truth. Such a simple thing, but it meant everything. Rachel has been amazing through all this. Veronica tried to scare her off with those letters, but if anything, it just made her more determined to stick around. She never pushed herself on Lily, just stayed consistent and caring. Last week, Lily asked if Rachel could come to her school play. Small victories. My employer closed the investigation with no findings of wrongdoing. My boss actually apologized for having to put me through it and gave me a raise for maintaining professionalism during personal difficulties. Some coworkers are still weird around me, but most have moved on. As for the recordings, I still have them all. Every single one. Backed up in 3 different places. Because while Veronica might call it paranoid, the judge called it prepared. And frankly, being paranoid saved my daughter from growing up in a house built on lies and manipulation. I don't record everything anymore. Don't need to. But that little digital recorder, it's sitting in my drawer. Just in case. Because if the last year taught me anything, it's that sometimes the best defense against someone trying to rewrite reality is to have reality recorded. Veronica still posts her inspirational quotes on social media. Still plays the victim to anyone who'll listen. But you know what? I don't care. I've got my daughter, she's safe, she's healing, and she knows she's loved. And that recording I played in court, the one of her coaching our 8-year-old to lie, that's now part of official court record. So whenever she wants to claim I'm the bad guy, there's legal documentation of exactly who was willing to psychologically damage a child for their own gain. Paranoid? Maybe. But my paranoia protected my kid. And I'd be paranoid 1,000 times over if it meant keeping her safe.